Well, good morning. Welcome, everyone. I'm Councillor Chris Atwell, Cabinet Member for Communities and Central Services. The meeting is being webcast to allow the public to attend remotely if they so wish. Please be advised that the public seating area is not in view of the camera used to webcast this meeting. Some housekeeping. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts, and please assemble at Queen Victoria's statue in Guildhall Square. In order to comply with the Guildhall Trust's fire marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the Guildhall reception desk should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. May I draw everyone's attention to the fact that this meeting will be live streamed and everyone speaking will be on camera. Members of the press and public are also permitted to record the meeting on the understanding that it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those stating explicitly they do not wish to be recorded. Please can everyone use the microphones and remember to switch them off when you have finished. Okay, let's make some introductions. Over to other members of the committee.
I feel like you forgot my name then. Councillor George Magic of the Paulsgrove Ward, an opposition spokesperson.
Councillor Lee Mason, Cosham Ward, spokesman for Communities and Central Services and former Resources Cabinet Member.
Thank you, Lee. Yes, and officers present.
Amy Tilt, Events and Sponsorship Manager from Culture, Leisure and Regulatory Services.
Thank you, Amy.
Harry Rafferty, Events Officer from Culture, Leisure and Regulatory Services.
Thank you, Harry.
Lisa Gallagher, Democratic Services.
Thank you, Lisa.
Sue Page from Finance.
And thank you, Sue. I'm not aware of any apologies given. Members, any declarations of interests?
Nothing to declare.
No. Okay, to today's substantive business, which is the coronation of King Charles III. Harry, you're presenting. If you could give us a brief introduction to the report, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Sure thing. Yes, so we're here today to talk to you about how the city will celebrate the coronation of King Charles III. The purpose of the report we've presented is to outline proposed activities which the council would like to support communities to mark the coronation. We recommended today that the cabinet member agrees to allocate £10,000 to enable communities to come together by hosting a series of street parties across the city. This is building on the success of those that happened in 2022 for the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Of particular note, we had over 100 street parties, 109 was the number exactly, which took place all across the city's 14 wards. It was amazing numbers, especially compared to nearby local authorities and local authorities of similar size, and we're really keen to build on that success to mark this first coronation of a new sovereign in 70 years.
Thank you, Harry. Yes, and our 109 official street parties. There may have been a couple of unofficial street parties around the city as well, but an extraordinary number of people took part in the weekend, and as well as the street parties, the big lunch events that we held in Southsea and up in your part of the world, Lee, up in Cosham. So thank you for the report. Opposition spokespersons, questions, comments? Lee?
Thank you very much. Broadly support the idea of this. I was Lord Mayor before when we had street parties and celebrations, and it was good fun going out meeting residents and trawling around the streets, seeing how they get on. I would also push for something that we had in the Silver Jubilee, which was Best Dressed Streets awards, and you can still see them up around Southsea and other parts of Portsmouth where you see Best Dressed Street. I think it gave a chance for civic pride and something for everyone to come together in, and where you have roads where they're artery roads where you can't put out tables and chairs and block them, it does give an opportunity for them to still take part and have a bit of civic pride. So I'd like to see a return of that. Hopefully you're nodding your head, so that'd be okay to forward. And yes, welcome it and look forward to hearing more information on this.
Thank you, Lee. I think that sounds like a nice idea. I'm sure the events team will go away and work on the best dressed street idea.
Yeah, definitely. We'll explore that and come back to you, Councillor Mason. Absolutely.
Thank you. George, any questions or comments on the
Yeah, I
report?
think my ward was the infamous one where they had no registered street parties, but threw about 1,000. Because I remember when I was looking at the list of registered street parties, I thought, what, they can't? There's none in Paulsgrove or Port Solent. So I put a post on Facebook, and I was invited to about 20. So maybe we need to outreach those communities a little bit better, because I think a lot of them had confusion. In relation, or actually, to be fair, I think it wasn't confusion. It was necessarily they missed the deadline because they didn't realise there was one, and so on and so forth. But I've got a good reach with the local residents there, and a mailing list of like 1,000 Paulsgrove residents. So please use me if you need to pass out that information. In relation to obviously the spend, the money asked, it's a great idea. No issues at all. And I think it'd be a positive thing. How could it not be? In relation to the integrated impact assessment, I'm not sure whether this is under your remit, but I think we just need to update it, because I noticed that it's said on the form that if we have questions that we can talk to Mark Pembleton or Pam Turton. I don't know about the last time we checked, but I don't think neither of them are there to answer many questions. So we probably just need to update the impact integrated impact assessment form moving forwards. But yeah, other than that, all sounds great.
Noted, George. We'll make sure that that's done.
I think as well, definitely keen to tap into Paulsgrove and communities in Port Solent. The deadlines are quite firm because of the road closures that we need, so we don't have much wiggle room with those. But I think, if we can jump the gun, get ahead a little bit, definitely keen to tap into your network up in those areas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we did quite a lot of comms last year. And it was, clearly the number of applications we have for street parties reflects the kind of the way we're able to connect with people, and we'll do the same again. So we'll make sure that all of our comms channels are used, as well as using your networks as well, George. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments and ideas. In addition to the report, which is sort of an outline report, isn't it? We're still waiting for a bit more detail, perhaps from the lieutenancy via the lieutenancy from the palace, about the kind of the theme or the expectations. But there's clearly an appetite for street parties here in Portsmouth, so we must make that happen and make it as easy as possible for people to come together and enjoy the weekend. I am also keen that, and the finance manager is here, Sue Page, on finding a little bit of extra money, if possible, so we can have a big lunch type event in the city for people who are unable to access street parties for whatever reason. And I trust that that works for opposition spokespersons as well. So we're working on that. I'm also quite keen that last year we had a Jubilee Neighbourhood Grant that helped with some legacy projects around the city. I'm also quite keen to explore the possibility of doing the same thing again, subject to, the finance manager's nodding, which, is that a good sign? We might need to find a little bit more money to do that as well. But, the Jubilee was a terrific success, and let's make the coronation weekend a terrific success for the city, and give people as many opportunities to get involved and come together as we can. There'll also be a civic service. I'm happy to update you today. There'll be a civic service on the Sunday of that weekend. Good. So I recommend that I approve the recommendation that I allocate £10,000 to enable communities to come together to host a series of street parties across the city, building on those that took place over the Platinum Jubilee celebrations to mark the coronation this year. Opposition spoke. Good morning, Shah. Do you have any declarations of interest before we carry on? You will have read the report, the coronation report. Do you have any questions for Harry and Amy this morning? No? Okay, thank you. So in addition to the substantive stuff, I know opposition spokespersons were keen on an update on twinning matters, in particular Cape Town, which was a conversation that came to this committee previously. So Harry, you've got a verbal update for us on progress with Cape Town and any other twinning matters?
Yes, so I've got an update. Claire Looney's given me a summary on some of our key twin cities and activities in 2022 and 2023. I will start with what I've been provided for Cape Town, because it sounds like that one is quite pertinent at the moment. So, a formal letter seeking to link Portsmouth with Cape Town has been sent to the Executive Mayor of Cape Town, and contact has been made with their International Relations Department. Portsmouth's in the process of completing the application for city links which Cape Town require, and anticipates submitting this along with all the supporting information in the near future. A gift has been presented to the Cape Town Mayor's office of a picture depicting the Portsmouth Harbour entrance.
Thank you. Lee, do you have any questions?
I think we'd quite like to see some progress going forward, that rather than just the near future, because 21st of February we have the commemoration of the sinking of SS Mendy, which is what actually led to this progress in the first place. So I think that would be a good date if we could actually have something to announce, and we will have the South African High Commissioner in Portsmouth, and the university will be involved in various different groups. So since everyone will be down here that day, it would be a good chance to actually announce something publicly rather than having to say, well, actually we've got no progress.
Well, we have got progress. I mean, we've just had the progress. I mean, it's worth noting, of course, it's a two-way kind of conversation. They have to want to twin or have a sister city arrangement with us. So.
We have to submit the paperwork as well, though, so for them to get to the next stage.
Which we're doing, but I understand that there are dates coming up that would, make the whole thing
More poignant.
more poignant. Yeah, thank you.
So I'll go now back to the intro, a short summary of recent activities. So on the 20th of December, a Christmas greeting from the Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress was carried on online from the Lord Mayor's Parlour with representatives from Duisburg, the Falkland Islands, Halifax, Portsmouth, New Hampshire and Portsmouth, Rhode Island. A further call is being planned with Zhuhai and Zhanjiang in China, and a volunteer student interpreter is being recruited to help from the global engagement team at Portsmouth University. A web page has been created on Visit Portsmouth website, highlighting all the cities linked to Portsmouth with images and some copy included. And social media posts went out in tandem with this on the Visit Portsmouth profile, linking back to the web page, giving information about each of these destinations. Then move on to Caen. So a group of 11 runners from Caen took place in the Great South Run in 2022. The city provided overnight accommodation for them, and the Twinning Association assisted with the dinner on a Saturday evening. Caen is starting to prepare for their 1000th anniversary in 2025, and we are exploring potential collaboration in Portsmouth's role in their story. The Deputy Mayor of Caen will be attending the Shape in Portsmouth conference on Friday the 27th of January. She oversees international relations at the council, and she is interested in how the two cities can work together collaboratively. Following the conference, a series of meetings have been set up with her, the leader, Councillor Pitt, Head of Economic Development, Jane Lamar, and the General Manager of the D-Day Story, Ross Fairbrother, Director of the International Port, Mike Sellers, and the Head of Port Operations, Ian Diper. In the evening, she'll meet the Deputy Lord Mayor, and on the Saturday morning, she'll be meeting with the Portsmouth Twin Association before returning to Caen in the afternoon. Cape Town is the next one on the list. Sorry, we've covered Cape Town. I'll skip that then and not repeat myself. Duisburg in Germany. The Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress visited Duisburg in September, and a group from the Duisburg Twinning Association visited Portsmouth. An application has been made by Duisburg for an urban diplomacy exchange between the two cities, whereby Portsmouth can share some best practice with reference to the Coastal Defence Programme and how Shaping Portsmouth engages with the business community and public sector organisations. Duisburg will share details with reference to their use of hydrogen power for industrial use, infrastructure use and urban zero rural. An online conference was attended, and we are currently awaiting to hear if the application has been successful. Duisburg have also made contact with our economic development team to explore business-to-business working. Falkland Islands. The Lord Mayor visited the Falkland Islands in December and had a successful trip following the recently signed agreement for a formal relationship between the islands and Portsmouth. Haifa. So contact has been made with Alderman Bentley to understand how the Twinning Group would like to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the link following the Haifa Group's recently restarted meetings. Halifax, Canada. So the Mayor of Halifax, the Vice President, Investment and International Partnerships and Director of International Business at Ocean Technology Council of Nova Scotia will be visiting Portsmouth from the 18th and 20th of January as part of a trade mission. They have a full itinerary of meetings that have been arranged with the Economic Development team and will be signing the Sister City Agreement during their visit in the Lord Mayor's Parlour. They will also visit some of the city's attractions, including the historic dockyard, Spilliker Tower and the D-Day story. Maizuru, so we collaborated with the Aspect Gallery's Family Saturday sessions, where the participating children produced artwork in form of postcards highlighting what they loved about Portsmouth. The 20 postcards were sent to Maizuru and were displayed alongside Maizuru's other sister cities' artwork in one of their shopping malls. 2023 marks the 25th anniversary of the link with Maizuru, and the city has invited the Lord Mayor of Portsmouth to visit to mark the 80th anniversary of Maizuru becoming a city. A grant application has been made to the Sasakawa Foundation for funding, not only to cover the cost of the trip, but to support some educational exchanges between the city's two schools. Maizuru is keen to do a book exchange between 50 and 100 books to go into their junior and high schools, and requests have been made for Conan Doyle Dickens and information about the city in return. In return, working with the library service, requests for well-known manga and graphic novels in Japanese, as well as other books in English to help children understand the Japanese culture, food and fashion have also been requested. We've been working with EMAs to devise activities and linking with the curriculum, and links with the curriculum have been worked up that will be promoted to schools in the summer to enable greater cultural understanding between Japan and the UK as part of the potential work that Sasakawa bid is, if the Sasakawa bid is successful. In the past, there have been successful student exchanges between Mayfield and Maizuru, and while it hasn't been possible to arrange this year due to COVID restrictions, it is hoped that these will restart for 2024. And finally, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Portsmouth, New Hampshire presented the Lord Mayor with an information pack in regard to their 400th anniversary celebrations, which are taking place in 2023 in a visit in June. They've extended an invitation to the Lord Mayor to attend any part of their celebrations if schedules allow. Anyone has any questions or feedback or comment on that, please do let us know. I can pass them on to Claire and the team that are working on Twinning.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you for that update. It's useful. Lots going on in Twinning, and it's good that we can start to do in-person kind of visits. Halifax delegation here at the moment, and I look forward to meeting Madame Cottonseau next Saturday when she's here in Portsmouth. Members, any questions or comments for Harry, possibly to take away for an update? Lee.
The 60th anniversary of the HIFA Twinning, we have been discussing it at the HIFA committee. It was good to have the Lord Mayor there with us, as well as some other councillors, and we have got plans sort of going forward and communication going on with HIFA. I will say that they are organising a lighting of candles on the Guildhall steps on the 26th of January at 6 p.m. to start the Holocaust Memorial commemorations, so there'll be a large turnout from the HIFA committee for that. We also have the Chinese New Year. They're doing a celebration. I know Zhang Xing have written to us, very keen, inviting the Lord Mayor to go out and visit them this year, and strengthen the links there. But they have the Chinese New Year. It's been celebrated on Sunday the 29th at the King's Theatre, and tickets are only £4 and free for concessions. So they are, again, keen to try and reach out into the local community. So, and with the Sydney Portsmouth Twinning, we have the traditional Anzac laying of wreaths in Milton Cemetery, which will be taking place on the 23rd of April. And again, that will be attended by the Lord Mayor's tradition. So I think all the twinning groups are looking for new members.
Ah, okay. Well, maybe we could do some comms around that. I'll take that away.
That was one of the requests I've had from both HIFA and the Sydney Twinning, is why can't we have it in flagship? I know when I was in your position a few years back, we did do a series each edition with details about one of our twin cities. It's more than 5 years now. It's gone past, so it might be a good idea to go through and do the same thing and introduce our twin cities out to our residents again, especially as we have Sylhet and Halifax and Falkland Islands added into the mix. I think that would be a good run of half-page inserts for the flagship, which we...
I think that's a really good idea, actually. Thanks, Lee. And thank you for your time and energy on Twinning. Our relationships with other places are really important. And and thank you for the update. That's good. Right, okay. Members, any other questions, comments while we're here? No?
I think myself and Councillor Madgwick had a nice discussion with the Mayor of Halifax yesterday. He has got a very strong sense of humour. So
I was going to say, actually, I've got something to add, and it's just from a perspective background. Whilst we were sat at dinner last night, we were taking photos and stuff, and I shared it on Facebook. And within 2 minutes, I was bombarded by a few people saying, "What a waste of taxpayers' money!" Blah blah blah, and I contested it. I think sometimes the public perceive those type of things as a waste of taxpayers' money, but what they don't understand is the cultural and economic benefits to these dinners. You know, both myself and Lee were sat there talking with the head of the museums and the head of Portsmouth University and the head of the Green Recovery, and then obviously, as you say, the Royal Navy were there and things like that, and the connections that you're making, and obviously the port was there, and we were discussing the trade links that could be possible between Nova Scotia and Portsmouth and so on and so forth, and all these different business operations. And I think that sometimes that's overlooked. I must admit and completely hold my hands up and say that before I was a councillor, I used to be one of those people that were like, "Ooh, a waste of taxpayers' money." But when you're on the inside, you kind of appreciate and respect the importance of them. And last night, I think, was a true example of how valuable twinning is and how good and positive it can be. And I reflect what Lee said, the Mayor of Nova Scotia is more of a comedian than a politician. Probably one of the most hilarious things I've been to since this council, which I'm sure we can talk about afterwards, but it was an absolutely hilarious experience. So.
And he thawed out after the harbour tour. It's a cold day to be
he
on the harbour.
expressed how our team were running him ragged on his short visit, and he didn't even have 10 minutes to breathe. So
It's a really important point, George, that we only have sister and twin city relationships with places where there is an economic and social value to us having those relationships, and so they don't happen by mistake.
the university has been able to profit. Well, actually, profits not because they don't make a profit; they invest it back in. But they've managed to create a lot of money to invest back into our city through the links. They have worked with our twin cities universities. There's been a lot of partnership working, research working. We've had a lot of financial aid and assistance. We've used our sister city, Maizuru, to help Portsmouth firms enter into the Japanese market, and it's like having an office there for free. The amount of help, and they've helped us through the paperwork. And we've had the same from our other twins. I think this is something that is often missed, and the actual benefit for our businesses. And I think because the certain elements on media can be so negative about it, we've tried to shy away from it rather than actually defending it, as we should do, and saying, well, actually, it does create economic improvement in the city. It does have cultural improvements. Even new ones like Sillet has already been up and running, and the great advancements that made. So I think that's an important part, and it is very much underrated. So.
Yeah, and also, important relationships with Duisburg, of course, that came out of a horrible, most appalling situation. So these relationships do good in many ways, don't they? But it's a good idea to do perhaps something around flagship or another comms to ensure people know about these things. Okay, are we there? Sure. Anything? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just actually, I want to say, obviously, going abroad, like we were talking about the other countries, the twinning cities, as a portfolio, will it be okay to arrange some meetings with other cities, their portfolio holder, means communities and central services, to go and to share our experience with them, and we can gain their experience as well? Because it won't cost you. We can gain some experience.
Well, I don't. The finance manager is here. I am not sure we're going to be going on plane trips to any of our sister cities for those.
Yes.
But it's an interesting question about whether we have online meetings with with our opposites in our twin cities. Lee, I don't know whether have we done that traditionally.
I'm very much self-funding with my travels abroad. So whilst actually in your role, I did have meetings with the opposite numbers in Caen and Duisburg in person, which wasn't too expensive, just getting a ferry over. But again, Zoom is quite useful, and I've had meetings with your opposite numbers in some of the Portsmouth America.
So yes, and it's worth picking up on sort of George's point. Actually, of course, all these trips are self-funded.
Yes.
So when people go off on trips abroad representing the city, they're not paid for from the public purse. But maybe we should think about more. Think further about how we have meetings with people like me.
Yeah, just I wanted to add actually, when we say online meeting, why can't we make it in person to go in other cities? Means it's not too far.
Well, you may have more money available than me to go off to some of these places, but so maybe you'd like to go in my place and represent Portsmouth. But yeah, no, if you know,
Just as a side note, though, if you did want to, my understanding is that we would be welcome in those areas. I did speak to the Mayor of Halifax about this last night because we were planning a trip to Canada anyway, both me and my partner. And I did say to him, I said, "Oh, we'll just come to Halifax then, you know, kind of thing." And he was like, "Oh, if you actually genuinely do, then please, you know, drop our office an email and we'll show you around the city and stuff like that." So yeah, definitely. If I know for a fact that if somebody wanted to go out their way to do it, then the cities would welcome us.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And like you say, we have one of the deputy mayors from Caen is coming over and meeting with yourself this weekend, meeting with myself on Saturday as well. So they do.
Those meetings do happen,
Yes,
don't they?
yeah.
They do.
Just to be clear, we have no specific budget for twinning in this portfolio.
No, absolutely. We do this on less than a shoestring. There are other pressures on the council. Anyway, look, I think we're there. Unless there's anything else, I will close the meeting at 10:27. See you all on the 10th of March.